Hey, welcome to HR Famous, brought to you by Kinetics, the leading RPO recruiting firm for growth companies. Named by HRO Today as the top midsize RPO provider, Kinetics uses its unique skill-based recruiter model to deliver on RPO engagements, allowing them to customize scope to meet your unique hiring needs. If you have recruiting challenges and want to consider RPO as a solution, give Kinetics a call. Find them online at kineticshr.com. HR Famous is also brought to you by HRU Tech, a contingent staffing firm specializing in engineering, IT, and technically related placements across multiple industries. If you're looking for technical talent or searching for a career, look no further than HRU Tech. Find them online at hrutech.com and call them today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of HR Famous. I'm back from vacation. It's Tim Sackett, and with me is the rest of the crew, Jessica Lee and Chris Dunn. Hey guys, what's going on?
Glad the resident ginger is back.
I know, not even that sunburn really. I mean, I started to get like bronzish, like, you know, just deeper colors of reddish brown.
You're like
I love
lather.
a ginger though.
You got lathered like in sunscreen. Don't kid yourself. You're like one of those kids on the beach that like the mom smothers them in sunscreen. You're doing it to yourself, but you do. We got video while we do this. You do look a little cooked.
No, you know, and I scold my wife because thankfully all of my kids got her skin and they just like tan like crazy. But like we had one of our like my wife's roommate's daughter, oldest daughter. So she's like middle 20s or whatever. She came from Colorado and she's milky white like me. And so like she was sitting out there by the water and she's getting sunburned. And I'm like, hey, you know, put some sunscreen on her. You know, you never stop being a parent, no matter how old they are. And she like literally just takes the spray and like sprays 2 lines like down her back or whatever. And the next day she has got 2 lines down her back and sunburn everywhere else. And I'm like, you are terrible. You can't even know how to do this.
She should have done like an exclamation point like on her back. That would have been dope.
I know. So no, it was good. You know, you can't complain. I'll be honest with you. Like, I think you know how everybody has had some like meltdown at some point during this entire like pandemic thing.
Okay.
Complete meltdown.
Where's this going? You had a complete meltdown?
Well, no, I felt like after, I mean, not on vacation, I was fine. Well, like I had some, you know, just some stuff like a bunch of work stuff just hit on Monday. So I spent like all of my Monday on vacation, like just doing work stuff. But then when I got back, I felt like, oh, I should be like really relaxed. And I didn't. Like I was completely wound up like a top Monday. And then, you know, get home, my wife felt the same way. I think we're like, oh, we're just getting to that point where it's like, this is never going to end, is it?
Yeah, it does seem like Groundhog Day every once in a while. By the way, thanks for sharing, Tim. I'm going to make it lighter than the deep notes you just dropped on your like personal inner being.
I had a meltdown.
I had a meltdown.
I like to joke. I like to joke with Mrs. Dunn when we're in the sun. Yeah. I'm infamous for putting no sunscreen on, and she like says, "Are you going to put sunscreen on?" Because I'm pretty pasty, and I always like to say, like first 15, 20 minutes, I'm just putting in the base. That's our running joke. I'm putting in the base.
And then do you put sunscreen on?
Yeah, or I just get out of the sun. By the way, putting in the base is from an infamous Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where they get control of a baby and they want to put it in a modeling agency. So they take it to a tanning bed and the people are aghast. And they say, no. We just want a little base on it.
Can you imagine how many people actually spray tan their kids to get them as like models for like, you know, in a Gap ad or something like that? Like it's probably just ridiculous.
Terrible.
For sure.
I know. It is. So we have a few things to talk about today, some topics I think we're going to have fun with. But before like today, like I like to give some inside baseball stuff to the crew, to everybody, right, Katie?
Sure.
So I bought some flowers for my wife, you know, used a Groupon. You know, people still use those.
Shout out.
And And I love you guys so much. I sent it to you so you could get the same deal I got on some flowers. Katie, you came back and said, "Holy crap! 30 minutes ago, I just spent a ton of money buying flowers for my wife." And then Jlee comes back, and what do you say?
Oh, you send it to my husband? And then I said, actually, no, by the way, I don't even like roses. No thanks.
Exactly. So what flowers do you like, by the way?
Oh, well, peonies are my favorite, followed by tulips. I like ranunculus.
Jesus,
I got a list.
Ranunculus. I didn't even heard of a ranunculus. What the hell is that?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's like a wildflower type thing.
Hey, Jlee, Mrs. Dunn doesn't like roses that much either. Her first choice would be lilies.
Oh. Calla lilies or stargazer? Now I'm in.
Yes.
Stargazer.
Yes.
Stargazer.
Yes.
Yes. Come on. Don't expect that I know the answer to that, Jlee.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the answer is no to stargazer lilies because that's the one where it leaves the brown marks everywhere. Ain't nobody want to clean that up.
Yeah.
Yes, no.
But they're so pretty when they're fully open. So look at this is what we do, right? We educate the masses on flower shopping. Anyways, I will tell everybody it was it Rose Farmers that I use on Groupon.
That's what you use.
Yeah, they were amazing. Like, you never know. Like when you get like mail order flowers, you have no idea what's going to show up. And these were amazing. So, hey, I'm pretty excited about that.
Well, by the way, the whole floral industry has been completely disrupted because of the pandemic. So I'm actually not surprised that they're on Groupon. Like
that they're cheap, right?
Yeah, that they're cheap or that they're needing to be on Groupon because people aren't having weddings. You can't have funerals in a proper way. Like people aren't buying flowers. It's crazy. It's sad, actually.
Tough.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. Okay. So we're going to move on with our first topic.
But back to Tim's breakdown.
we're gonna keep moving. And so there was a new survey out, or not? It's not a survey; it's a study. So I'll give you the title. So it's basically collaborating during coronavirus, the impact of COVID-19 on the nature of work, and it's done by a number of folks. And it's on NBER, which is the National Bureau of Economic Research. So this is like a real academic study, and I'm fascinated by economics during like the COVID thing and even before that. So I love reading a bunch of their papers. So this one though got me because I'm always questioning, like, and Katie, you know, I've said this, like when we do like employee surveys and they'll go, "Oh, all of our employees can't stand the CEO." Then you go, "How many employees did you talk to?" And they're like, "Oh, we talked to 200 and it's like a 200,000 person company." And you're like, slow down, like, you know, before you say that. So this one, they took metadata from North America, Europe, Middle East, and it's from email, aggregated meeting and calendar data for over 3 million users. And then they said, okay, let's compare it to pre-pandemic levels, and then let's look at post-pandemic levels. And so I'm going to give you some stats, and then you guys can react. So first off, number of meetings per person. What do you guys think, up or down? Have your meetings gone up or down?
They've gone up.
I feel
they've gone up.
Yeah, they've gone up.
And I would have said that before I saw the results. So I'm looking at the data now, but I would have said they've gone up for sure. So 12.9%, almost 13% of people have basically, they're not saying this. This is actual data that shows that the meetings have gone up. And then the other piece of it is the number of attendees per meeting has gone up 13.5% as well. So not only do we have more meetings, we have more people attending meetings. And I think from a remote work environment, we probably all of us could have said, "Yeah, that makes sense, right?" We have to communicate more and more often when we're not seeing each other in like face to face. The one that got me was that there was a decrease in the average length of meeting, 20.1%. So basically, 20%
exactly what it is.
You tell me.
You know what it is? So. Do you know how much time in like a larger office building, like in my company, we spend so much time commuting to meetings. It's like, I need to get to the third floor, the sixth floor, the conference room over there. And we are continually late, or we build in time. And now you don't have to commute. You just skip to the next one, press the button, next meeting. So I actually have found our meetings are shorter because we're not sitting around waiting like, oh, the person's walking, they're coming. They said they're on their way. They're walking.
I got a text. Jaylee's on her way. She'll be here in 20
Yes, exactly. Ugh. I think that's a part of it, for real.
I think it is too.
I feel like the meetings are shorter because there are more meetings. So I think I think like early on, especially in the pandemic, that managers replaced just seeing people around with more meetings. And as a result of that, we accepted shorter meetings. Like we figured out that I don't trust the two of you. That's established, right? So I'm going to have you on a video meeting. And then I get in there and I'm like, well, I had like one or two things. You guys got anything? And we're gone quicker. So I feel like it's more meetings that have resulted in shorter meetings. But I think all the stats are true.
I think I have a third option, which I think it's the digital platforms. I think it's Zoom. I think it's Teams. I think it's when we're digitally meeting, it's so much easier for us to end the meeting versus going, okay, so do we have anything else to talk about? And everyone's like, well, there's like, you almost like you're all in the conference room together. You don't have another meeting starting for 15 minutes. Are you really going to walk back to your office or whatever? And so I always think it's that because it's so easy to go, oh, bing, okay, guys. And we wave at each other like a bunch of morons. And then you get off the meeting. So I'm going to say that I think it's a good thing, though, that the digital meeting environment has made us more efficient in our meetings.
By the way, I refuse to wave at the end of a meeting when everyone does bye. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't do that when I'm leaving a conference room. Just bye, click. Like this waving business. I'm not there for it.
See, I'm the other side. I think that, you got to give them something. I like to give them like a little yes. I like to give them like a little like something else. I don't like two-hand wave way too desperate. No, maybe it's not desperate. It's but two hands waving, that's a lot. But I think you have to give them something. So
I wave now. I wave now because I know people. It bugs people. So now I do it.
That you don't wave, or no, that you do wave.
Yeah, because it bugs people. Because there's certain people that it just grinds on them. Like hey, I don't wave in an in-person meeting. Why are we waving? And I'm like,
hey, I gotta
not just wave.
I have to tell both of you this too. I may have told both of you already, but I had the occasion. So Kinetics, recruiting firm, we can easily do all of our work remote. I did my first 90-minute meeting. I'm writing about it on the Capitalist next week. I did my first 90-minute meeting in person, socially distanced in a conference room and masked up. And I was really positive about it. I wanted to do it because I wanted to get out of the house. And as you'll see, if you read my post next week, hrcapitalist.com, no big deal. Check it out next week. It's next Monday. The post ran. It was horrible. Like being masked up for 90 minutes where you are expected to run, let's say 30 minutes of that time and be an active talker is not going into the grocery store. It's not going into Walgreens. It's awful. I would much rather Jlee be on Zoom.
You know what? Speaking of which, I saw a mom friend of mine post on Facebook that wearing masks has forced her children, and this applies to us in the workforce as well, to be more honest about brushing their teeth because her kids are like, oh, mom, I didn't brush my teeth. This is awful. And she's like, well, that's your fault. You didn't brush your teeth. So, things like that. You got to have mints, brush the teeth.
The mint industry is on fire right now.
Yeah. Hey, the other thing, I'll ask you guys this. We don't have a video conferencing sponsor. Wide open to one, though, I might add. But I would tell you I'm doing virtual training for a client out of our leadership series at Kinetics. And I'm on Zoom deep for the first time. And we have Microsoft Teams, et cetera, et cetera. So I was a big proponent at one time of shorting Zoom as an investment option. I got to tell you, the platform on Zoom, I think, is pretty vastly superior to what exists elsewhere. Thoughts?
No, I agree. I think I've done probably a dozen virtual conferences this year. And if it's not on Zoom, there's a big chance that thing is not going to go off as planned.
It's more intuitive.
I would say, the one I will say on 24 actually is fairly decent. It's a little bit heavier, robust. I mean, it's meant for enterprise. Yeah. So it's not something you're just going to pick up as an individual. So I agree with you, Katie. I think it's important. And I haven't tried a lot of it on Microsoft Teams because I'm so comfortable at Zoom. Teams might be good. I don't know. Have you tried
Teams
that?
is getting better, and Teams actually has like these broad broadcast capabilities. So you can do like a 10,000 person meeting, like as a part of your, license. So they're getting there. They're up in their game.
Might have to look at that. So one other stat, and we'll move along on to our next topic, but the other piece of all of this data that came out of this paper, and we'll throw a link in the liner notes for the people that want to take a deep dive into this study. The average workday. So think about people working remotely, and in my mind, I think 25 hours a week remotely equals about 40 hours corporately in an office environment. So, and you guys see this, the average workday increased 48.5 minutes, not a week, a day, almost an hour a day increase working remotely. Now, there's a little bit of data issue here, right? When you take a look at calendar email data, some weird things happen is that they're measuring when first interactions or first things happen. So if traditionally I was commuting to work and I would get into work like at 8:30, now I'm not commuting. Maybe I'm replying or I'm setting up that first meeting at 8 a.m. Or maybe if I'm working at home and putting the kids down to go to bed at 8 p.m., maybe I'm replying to a couple emails. Again, this is on average, that the average workday is 48.5 minutes. And so you have these people that have extended when they'll start their day and when they'll end their day because they're working remote with more flexibility. I don't truly believe people are working more. Jessica, what do you think?
Well, I can only speak from my own experience. And I think, I no longer have an hour total, 30 minutes each way of commuting. So that time is now spent working. I can eat lunch much more quickly and then get back to it. So there's things like that where I think it's adding up. But I think you raise a good point. In the past, I would hesitate to schedule meetings before 9 just to give people the courtesy. But now I'm an 8 o'clock meeting person. And what else are you doing? I know you're home. So let's get on it. Hey, I've been known to do 7:30 meetings as well. I don't care what time zone you're in. We're going to hop on at 7:30. So, part of it is what else are you doing? What else am I doing? I guess I could be enjoying life more, right? But I'm working.
I had somebody today say they were like, I gave them literally 5 different times I could meet on my calendar over a 2-week period in ranges of time. And they get back to me, none of these work. Do you have anything Monday through Friday after 5?
Before we move on, I need to let you know about my friend Mark Pfeffer and his show, People Tech. If you're looking for the latest on product development, marketing, funding, big deals happening in talent acquisition, HR, HCM, that's the show you need to listen to. Go to the Work Defined Network, search up People Tech, Mark Pfeffer. You can find him anywhere.
And I'm like, oh,
sounds like me, Tim. That sounds like my communication with you.
I'm like, calm down, Gary V. Come on. Really?
That's a power move. Come on, Tim. They're busy.
Right.
So to me, I think the work days are longer. I think when all of this gets played out in the media, it's always, oh my gosh, look at what we're looking people to do. What I'd be really interested in, Jlee and Tim, is how do the people putting in the actual longer work days feel? Do they feel... And Tim, I agree. Let's say it's not 48 minutes. Let's say they're working longer by 25 minutes. And do they feel like that's an effective trade-off for the flexibility for the lack of commute? Because if we're in kind of still in lockdown mode, there's really maybe that flexibility really doesn't play out into much of anything. But I'd just be interested to know how the rank and file worker feels, because if you're going to go read the newspapers, the sky is falling and what have we done to our workforce? I'm not sure the average worker is that disappointed with how this has worked out. Tim?
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it really goes back to, I still think if you take a look at an employee experience and the level of employee experience when people are remote, it's so much higher right now than it is for people that have to work in the office. So they can sit there and say, oh, I'm working more, but their experience is still super high. So I think it's that flexibility aspect that has really kind of helped people out.
Agreed.
I'll tell you what, I am petrified for when I have to drive to work again or drive my kids to school again. That's an hour and a half of lost time that I'm gonna have to figure out how to make up for in the future. Sucks.
Yeah. All right. So along with this, right, and the change of our workday and stuff like that, we have we started talking about what the impact is going to be for all these employees who are still going to be working remotely in the fall, and now all of these kids who we wanted to go back to school, but now the vast majority, like 70%, I think was like the last one I heard, are going to have to start back at home. What are companies doing to help their employees, kind of with this another transition of these kids not going back to school? And so CNBC had an article, and here's some of the benefits that employers are currently offering parents. And I'll give you guys the benefit and the percentage, and then you guys let me know if there's ones out there we missed or are there ones out there we should be, trying to do. So about 60% offer flexible work environment, which flexible hours. So that's helpful, right? If we know that that's the case. And there's another 10 or so percent that are planning action to add flexibility. So now you're up to 70%. And then there's another 20. So almost 90% of companies are considering some kind of flexibility to help, these parents. Then the other one is offering caregiving navigation, which is around 33%. And I'll tell you, that's kind of like when you do the relocation and you offer somebody rental assistance, like, oh, here's where you can find an apartment, go to this site. That's kind of like, oh, we're going to offer you some navigation resources to find a caregiver. Only 20% are offering a backup childcare benefit. Only 13% will modify performance expectations, which I think is amazing that we're going to go, hey, you have kids at home, we're going to expect less of you. And then 10% are offering the holy grail, which is on-site or near-site childcare services. KD, are you going to modify the performance expectations of your team because they have kids at home?
That would be incorrect. I think if you offer flexible hours and you offer like max flexibility for them to like figure it out, and you have a lot of, you're just adaptable, I don't think you have to manage or modify performance expectations. And I think really those two things, like, are really that one thing, like trying to be flexible with hours. And of course, there's a gap here between salary positions and hourly positions that have to be at a certain place. There's this big gap there that's not a cross-cut of this, but really it all comes down to flexibility. I think everything else, especially for the SMBs of the world, probably up to, 3,000-4,000 employees, they're just not going to do on-site stuff. And in terms of offering caregiving navigation resources, Jlee, make sure you get that database of care providers together for people to work through. Can you imagine?
Well, no, I remember the caregiving resource I received when I was pregnant with my first child. I was like, this is it. It's a list of places to call to see if they will take my child in. So I don't know how helpful that is. But, I'm actually incensed by this article somewhat, and just the framing of it, because I'm just, and maybe this is the journalism or the people who administered the survey, but for us to call these quote unquote benefits that employers are offering to parents is modifying performance expectations, flexible hours. Are those what we call benefits now? And I actually just think it's pretty weak that this is what we're going to call benefits. We shouldn't even call it that. We should call it resources or options or, considerations that employers are going to offer to parents. And I think to call it anything more than that is really putting lipstick on a pig, in my opinion, because I think the thing everyone is experiencing is that this is gray, everyone is experiencing this common thing of what are we going to do in terms of managing children and virtual schooling in this interim period. And so I don't know, unless it's a real benefit, let's not call it that. But I just hope instead employers are being open in the dialogue to say, we all recognize you're going to go through this thing. We want to figure this out together as far as how to navigate through it. And starting there is the first place to me, but to call some of these things benefits is just weak. It's weak.
Yeah. So Jlee, when we think about benefits, then, really the true benefit would be, hey, we're going we're going to give you a subsidy of some sort to help you pay for
Yes.
the best childcare you can get. And people
Yep.
might go, well, wait a minute, you're giving extra compensation or benefit to somebody that has children versus a single person that doesn't. What are you giving them? But we do all kinds of stuff like that. We do tuition reimbursement. And so for me, I'm thinking if that would truly be what we would need, is to say, hey, how do we incentivize, or not incentivize, how do we compensate or subsidize, our employees with extra money to actually help them go out and pay for the proper childcare so that they can get the work done that they need to get work done? That would be the benefit. Is there any other ones you can think of? Like, you have 2 young ones at home.
Well, so that resonates like big time with me, because especially for parents who have young kids that are in like daycare or preschool, there are a lot of folks, including myself, that are basically double paying right now. So we have to keep paying tuition for Montessori school to hold a spot, but we're not sending them because we don't think health-wise it's safe and secure, but we can't lose the spot. And we've also paid tuition up front, and then I'm paying for help, in the house right now to make sure that I can work every day. And so this double payment issue is something that a lot of families are facing right now, if they're even in a fortunate enough position to be able to find help, have help pay for that. So there's a huge financial impact that folks are experiencing and dealing with, especially if their kids are of the age where they require childcare. It's nuts. I will take some extra pay.
I cannot believe that these Montessori, or there's not just Montessori, there's all kinds of schools like this that are basically holding parents hostage for their spot by making them pay. I think that's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Insane.
But I understand that they have bills to pay as well, but still, come on, you're not even providing the service. You can't make them pay. Okay. We gotta move on to the last topic, and so we're gonna end with some sex. Because it fits right in with everything else we've been talking about. It's just a smooth transition on my part. So it's been in the news for a while, but it came back again this week, and it was McDonald's, right? So they actually fired their former CEO, Stephen Easterbrook, who was out of the UK. And he was fired back in 2019 for having a consensual relationship with an employee. And then he also, it was kind of a firing. I kind of maybe more him just resigning because he got a compensation package of $40 million on the way out. Wouldn't we all love to be a CEO of a Fortune 100 company? The golden parachutes are awesome. So, but anyways, let's move forward. So we think that's it. And then all of a sudden it comes out as they start going through, and some of this is, I'm sure they have legal teams and IT teams and stuff just combing through all this stuff, probably some whistleblowers. The company found dozens of explicit photos of some former McDonald's employees, not just the one that he was having a consensual relationship with, that he had sent from his work email to his private email. And now McDonald's is going to sue him to get back that $40 million. First, I will say the $40 million payout, and many payouts like this, because this happens all the time, I think is one of the most ridiculous things. But in executive compensation and contracts, many times this is contractual language you just can't get away from. So when something bad like this happens, there's kind of this no fault contractual language where they're paying this out regardless. But I'm shocked by this. I mean, Jlee, can you ever imagine something like this? I'm shocked by this.
Well, I'm quite disappointed. You guys might know this, but I am a Mickey D's alum. That was my first job. So I'm a little bit the tarnish of what he's doing to that brand. I'm not happy about. But one of the things I think is interesting, Tim, is that when Easterbrook left, the board of directors at that time felt like he was exiting without cause. And so that's what enabled him to get severance and all the stock awards, which is what, had the dollars add up to such a big fat package. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's interesting. I'm curious to see if they can win in this lawsuit and somehow, reverse this to make it a termination situation that was with cause. I mean, certainly I mean, come on, if you're going to be sending nudies back and forth to people, you're asking for one. Why? You give them your Gmail, but even still, don't even do it. But if you're going to do it, do it to your Gmail. Why is he having people send this to his McDonald's.com account? Just so junior varsity.
KD, what do you think the reality of the ending of where this is all going to go? Where do you see this going?
Well, you mean for McDonald's?
And Easterbrook, where do you think? I mean, ultimately, what happens?
Well, I think Easterbrook is welcome to the world of independent consulting, because I think that's that's what he's going to do for a while. I think McDonald's is going to really seek out all these people who were impacted. Maybe they didn't even realize it, and they're going to settle their off, right? They're going to seek out those people and try and feel like they've been made whole. And they're probably going to have to seek out people who don't even know that they've been wrong. So all of this, moving back to the original issue, all of this is a cautionary tale from an employee relations and investigations perspective about doing the minimum and hanging up a banner that says mission accomplished. Because when you just do the minimum, and by the way, they did the right thing, right? They have this policy, no relationships. And if they didn't know about the extent of it, they took an action. It was a great thing, but we know it's not enough. If somebody has that behavior and was so brazen that they would run through a stated policy by the board and by the company, you have to do the work. Right, Jlee? You have to do the work. You have to dig in. You have to direct the IT people. I need the big search. I need JPEGs. I need .movs. I need it all that came from his account. And while we're doing that, let's do all of his direct reports too and just see what we're dealing with. So they did the minimum. They got credit at the time, and it was awesome. This is just a cautionary tale that you gotta go all the way when you do these investigations and flip all the rocks.
Well, and flipping all those rocks isn't it shouldn't actually even be that difficult. If part of what they have surfaced is that, there was a pattern of receiving types of images, but then a pattern of trying to potentially destroy them by forwarding. I mean, the way the sophistication that exists with IT security today, they can track any kind of aggressive volume of, actions happening where emails are being forwarded to personal accounts and things of that sort. So I do wonder if some of this is they could have and should have known about it earlier and just didn't try hard enough, or maybe they did and they didn't, think that it was going to blow up in the way that it has. But I think I will be very curious to see, can they get that money back? There's not a lot of precedent of people getting these, big fatty severance packages and then being able to claw it back. But there's certainly, I think, more than, a few situations right now in the news today where, there's a desire for companies to claw that back. But if they can do it, it'll be interesting to see if they can. And then, how does this change the way, companies and board of directors may pursue, structuring someone's package or agreements going forward?
So I a couple of things. One is I have a feeling McDonald's isn't going to want to keep this on the front page, right? So they tend to go down low, start doing due diligence, and really all it is a big negotiation where they'll say, okay, how much of this money are we going to get back? And my guess is so it won't go to court, because otherwise, Easterbrook knows his career's done, but at $40 million plus whoever knows what he got before that, he's fine. McDonald's doesn't want to have this brand spread all over the front page news, especially when it's salacious kind of stuff like this. So my guess is they'll negotiate this puppy down and get it out of there. I have a feeling if the real story came out, it's partly what KD said, which is the work wasn't done all the way. What happened was that everyone just started signing contracts and getting them out of there as fast as possible, doing the right thing, quote unquote, with this consensual relationship. And then some other people came forward and said, wait a minute, I also had, this wasn't enough. This was it. And so I'm sure that's how this stuff comes up, because Otherwise, then what you're saying is, oh yeah, we continued the investigation after we gave them $40 million, which makes you sound like a bunch of idiots that did this to begin with. So I'm guessing there was some whistleblower stuff that came out, but I don't think we'll ever really know, because I think this thing will get closed down before it goes.
Tim, I think the big thing, everything you said is correct. I think the minimum here is you got to do a deep dive from an IT perspective from his account. Yeah. I mean, that's it, because the whistleblower probably came through and said, hey, that, whatever, Alice, him and Alice were sharing pictures, right? and it's apart from the other person. So I'm just telling you, Alice has talked about all of these 2 a.m. things she was sending him, and he would send things back. You probably ought to take a look at that. They did the scan and they're like,
yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to get us out of here. That's all we have for you guys today. The HR Famous crew for Jessica Lee and Chris Dunn. I am Tim Sackett. We will see you next week. We already have some really big things that we want to talk about for next week. So we'll see you guys again next week.